Hey, good morning, everyone. It's early, about 7:20 on a Sunday. Just working on another 2010 MacBook Pro that I had purchased off eBay to work on, see what's up with it. Old machine, but still pretty good ones. These things can still be used today for a lot of things. This one got a little beat up, got a little dent. I'm having some trouble, guys, with my overhead camera. It continues to freeze on me. I think I'm gonna have to find a new way to start recording with on that. I'm using a Canon T3i and it keeps freezing up. Yeah, I have to keep shutting it down and turn it on. And it really, it's not really, maybe the quality is good. It's just the shutter doesn't stay open for very long with this utility. And that means I gotta keep going back and reopening it. Alright, working again. Let's see for how long here. Okay, we can talk a little bit about some of the things I have. Just people probably, I can't really show you. Not all of it. To my left here, I have this item. This is a quick 861 DW hot air station, I guess you could call it. Ultimately, it's like a heat gun, blow dryer that puts out a lot of hot air. And that's how you can pull chips off the board, kind of reflow things. I have my soldering pen. This is a micro pencil. This one in particular is for the small stuff. It's a Hacko FX 951. Nice unit. I think probably one of the best things about it is it's the tips are interchangeable. This one comes out, and same on my larger size one. So the heating element is built into the tip, making it more accurate, and the sensor's in there too. So whatever temperature you set it to, and you start soldering, obviously the heat dissipates from the tip, and try to maintaining its heat. It'll balance that out. Try to keep the heat accurate. Which makes much better for soldering. Big spool of leaded solder. It's a little bit softer material, flows a little easier, especially when you're reworking stuff. My upper right, I have a power supply where I can change the voltage and amperage on it. It's nice for diagnosing because you can pull or see how many amps are being pulled from the item, and as you continue to do more work on items, you'll realize what type of amperage they'll pull in an off state, obviously, and then an on state, so you can tell if it's turning on, a device is trying to turn on, those types of things. Over here, just have your typical multimeter. This one's by Klein. Got this one at Home Depot. But you're going to need some micro tips, I guess you could call them. They're much smaller for these smaller components. The other thing with the power supply too is you're going to need some cords that go to MagSafe 2. That'll go for the MacBooks that use MagSafe 2, and also older one, MagSafe, which is the one I'm going to be using for this MacBook. So I'll change that out. The computer I'm using is nothing too fancy. It was an older unit that I originally bought. I was going to make what they call a Hackintosh, which is basically a Windows computer, Intel based, that has components in it that are pretty compatible to be used for running Mac OS. But I decided not to because I need a Windows machine to do a lot of this stuff. Some of the software, it's a kind of a mix. There's some good software for broadcasting and doing things on a Mac that I wish I had for Windows, and vice versa. There's always something. All right, these mats, heat resistant or whatever type mats. This one here is actually for baking on. It's very sticky, but what's nice is I can use the heat gun on it and it doesn't swell. This blue one, if I have something on it that I'm heating up and I'm looking under the microscope, it will bubble, and then it obviously ruins your focus on the microscope. The microscope is an AM scope. It's not branded on here. It's off of an affiliate link from Louis Rossman's site, and he has lots of links for all of the equipment you would need to do this type of work, and videos to teach you how to do it. So you can always go to Louis Rossman's page, and he's the man when it comes to this stuff. And there's a few others that I like to watch too. So microscope camera, I forget the brand name of that. I did not go with the AM scope one because it is extremely expensive, but this one does pretty good job. I just bought an adapter and got it yesterday. That'll widen the field of view because if you saw some of my other videos, it kind of sucked because it was such a small area that you'd be able to see compared to what I can see through the scope. I have a Logitech 1080p webcam in front of me. I may move that to a side view at one point. I'm not sure yet. And I have a blue Snowball microphone over here on a mount. Works pretty well. I think at some point I might try to get a mouthpiece so people can hear me better. Looking at some other things, this is spool of wire. It is 44 gauge coated wire, kind of like speaker coil wire. This stuff's about as thick as your hair, maybe even thinner. Yeah. That's used for jumper wires when I've got boards that have bad corrosion on it. This is also the same type of wire, but it's 34 gauge, a little bit thicker. And that's about it. Got some different tips over here for my soldering pen, some Q-tips and some alcohol dispensers, rubbing alcohol, some more rubbing alcohol. You use that a lot to clean with. And that's about it. So let's get into it. 2010 MacBook Pro. It's an i7. I don't remember the full specs, but I'll need some oil on that. Let's see what this does when I plug a cord in. I don't know exactly what the problem with this one is. Let me look it up quick. See what it said. Mid 2010. 4 gigs of RAM, 2.6 gigahertz processor, hard drive, no hard drive, powers on. Let's see. Apple Macbook Pro has been tested for functionality and powers on, but does not boot to BIOS, which I'm not sure what they mean by that. Maybe OS. We'll find out. It's a mid 2010. Just pretty much giving me some specs. No hard drive or OS. The battery is included. Charges and allows system to be powered on. Cosmetically appears fair. So fair. So it looks like it's really just a bunch of things and bruises, scratches, and I don't know why people gotta stick stuff on it. Just makes it harder for me to clean. Some rub dents, pretty typical. It's 8 years old. Let's see what it does. Put power supply on. Alright, there we go. And it booted. White screen so far. I mean, it's not in terrible shape. Top part, it looks like they dropped it on the corner here. It kind of dents it back, buckles a little bit. The part where you would put an Ethernet cord in. The screen looks pretty decent. So it gives me a question mark. The question mark is simple. It just means it has no OS. So power button. Shuts down. Matte finish. So I'm going to plug in a USB cord adapter for SATA to USB. This drive, I have an operating system on it. MacBooks have this smell. These older ones. It reminds me of my car, BMW's. I have an older BMW, and it has they use this wax material in the trunk for padding. It's like infused with wax or something, and it has, personally I think it smells like BO, but like back in the gym underarm pit BO. And these MacBooks do the same thing, and I think there's this padding on the bottom plate that's similar stuff, so I might have to remove that, but we'll see. This thing totally needs a cleaning. So alright, I'm going to turn it on, hold the option button down, which with the MacBook brings up options to boot off of different devices, or gives you different boot options. First attempt to checking trackpad function, and that works. This one, the black piece here on the screen, they call that a clutch cover. This is where the antennas go, the antenna wires go, and this is where your antenna is for your Wi-Fi, etc. Bluetooth. And this is also the screen cable comes in, Wi-Fi cables, camera cable, webcam cable, microphone, and they use that for ambient light sensors. Well, let's see when I get to an OS if it keyboard light turns on. Hopefully you guys can hear me well enough. I know I got probably a bit of background noise because of the power supply, but so it did boot. Backlight, keyboard backlight is on. Battery shows charging, but it's at 0%. So we'll give that a couple minutes, see what it does. So power supply is going wacko, like jumping 1.5 amps to 2.5. It's kind of bouncing around there. So I got a feeling this battery is either shot or the charging circuit is shot. Now it's up at 3 amps. That's weird. Alright, that looks alright. Let's take a look. What's really on this thing? Well, it's better than what the stats said. I kind of like the matte finish screen better than the glossy. Actually looks nice. This is a pretty good machine for being as old as it is. So it actually has a 2.8 i7, not a 2.4 like I read. It has 8 gigs of RAM. These have dual video cards, and what I will do to this, if it hasn't been done, is upgrade a capacitor on the board. Sometimes these machines would have issues with the graphics, causing kernel panics and shutting down, and it was very easily fixed. It was actually not an issue with the graphics chip, which was a big surprise, I guess. So this has the dual graphics card, has an Intel HD graphics built in, and then an NVIDIA GeForce GT 330, which is not being used at the moment and will be used if you run stuff that's more graphic intense. So what I like to do, and you can kind of see, when you click on the NVIDIA GeForce, it does not show any information below about the monitor it's hooked up to, but if you click on the Intel one, it will show what it is. So let's pull up Safari. It's still not charging the battery. Let's go to YouTube. See if it plays.
Anthony Brindisi was Cuomo's rubber stamp. They helped each other while hurting us.
I'm just listening on each side of the speaker, trying to see if I find with these machines that it'll play this video, but it takes a second before it switches over to the other graphics card, so it stutters a minute. It's supposed to be a little more seamless, I think, but Apple, I don't think, did a very good job of it. So let's see. I'm going to about this Mac now. System report. Now when you come to graphics, you're going to see on the Intel built-in one, there's no information about the monitor now, and now there is on the NVIDIA, so it switched it over. Why they did that, I don't know. Battery life was the whole idea, I guess. Let me see what it says about battery, if it even shows it. It shows cycle count 1049 and in conditions normal, which It says normal, but it ain't taking no charge. At least it's not detecting it, so something's not right. Current sensor maybe isn't good. I'll take a look at that when I open it up. It has a nice screen. I mean, the screen's nice. Yeah, this bad boy. All right, let's shut it down. This damn blue mat slides an awful lot. The best thing you can do for these machines, and I keep saying it every time, these older MacBook Pros, one, if you buy one of these older ones, 2010 on these 15-inch ones, still have pretty decent processors and stuff on them. The 13-inch 2011 is about as far back as I'd go. These 2010s are ironically still pretty decent. Let's open her up. Grab a magnet. I was saying, solid state drives are your sorry, I just sneeze. Are your best bet with these. I'm not really doing any editing to these videos. I don't have the time for it right now. Work a full-time job. On top of this. Pretty clean, dusty. These machines get warm too. So, let's see what we got here. Doesn't look that bad. So, don't see anything quite yet. That's what those things were. The capacitor I'm talking about, I believe, is on the other side. I just did one not too long ago, so pretty sure that's where it is. I just gotta take the board out. 50A as well. Let me go out of here, go to window, shrink you down, move you out of the way, you can go away. And schematic. So this thing works, so I don't really have to do any major troubleshooting here. I think I'm just going to look for is charging power. Current in voltage sensing. Voltage sense, CPU B cord. That's not what I want. Current sense. Current sense. Thermal sensors. No. Battery charger. There we go. Very common circuit. U7000. That's the chip I'm looking for. And it is on the side that I'm on. Let's rotate the way I have it. So it looks like it's over here. So this is the chip I'm going to look for. Go back to right here for you guys. So I'll pop the microscope over here so we can see. And I'll get it in focus just a second. Looks fine. I say it's probably the battery. I have to find another battery maybe. Much broader view than what you guys used to see last time, so everything looks good here. I don't see any corrosion. Take the board out. It makes it a little easier to move. This area always seems to be common. Maybe that was just crooked before. I think I'm gonna remove it. I don't think this MacBook's been messed with. I mean, I don't see any marks on the screws. So I gotta get it out anyway to replace that capacitor. It's kind of a maintenance thing at this point to make sure we don't get any trouble with video and kernel panics. Grab another magnet. My dog, Hajin. Good morning. And there we go. Lost my overhead. It's about as long as it lasts before it cuts out. It's annoying. I'm gonna stop recording now. I'll post all these. I think I'm gonna put them on YouTube and share the links. My next step, I'm gonna pull this board out, and when I get to the capacitor area, maybe I'll start it recording again. So, talk to you later, guys.